There was a time when the world felt small enough to understand. You could stand at the edge of your village, look toward the horizon, and believe that everything that mattered lay within sight. The sky arched like a perfect dome above you, painted with stars that never changed their place. The sun was a golden coin that sailed predictably across its sea of blue. Nights were for stories, mornings for work, and the idea that anything existed beyond what you could touch or see felt unnecessary. Simplicity was safety. Certainty was warmth. The unknown was a rumor you didn't need to chase, but curiosity has always been restless. Somewhere, a shepherd paused between breaths, watching the moon rise, and wondered why its shape changed. A child near a fire noticed the same pattern repeating in puddles of light and shadow, and a question stirred. What if the heavens were not painted on the ceiling of the world, but lived far beyond it? That thought, teeny, fragile, and rebellious, was the first crack in the smallness of reality. For generations, people carried that crack quietly. They built calendars from stars, measured time by shadows, traced paths of wanderers across the sky. Still, they kept to the comforting belief that everything revolved around them. It's a natural instinct to put yourself at the center, to make meaning by drawing a circle that includes only what you know. We still do it, even now. When life feels uncertain, we shrink our world to what's manageably or home, our work, our immediate dreams, and pretend the rest doesn't exist. The mind finds peace in boundaries. Yet discovery begins the moment a boundary trembles. Imagine that first trembling. Imagine someone, thousands of years ago, realizing that the sun doesn't travel across the heavens. To you and me, it's a simple fact, a classroom diagram. But to them, it was heresy. A thought so heavy it could crush reputations, friendships, even lives. Still, it spread. Truth always has a way of leaking through the seams of comfort. The idea passed from whispers to parchment, from risk-takers to dreamers, until it became undeniable. And with that shift, the universe expanded in an instant, not physically, but psychologically. Humanity took its first step from certainty into wonder. It's easy to underestimate that moment, because we know how the story ends. But picture it as if it were happening now. Imagine someone proving, beyond question, that what you call reality is only a sliver of something larger, that your every assumption about cause and effect, time and space, is limited by the lens of human perception. Would you accept it gracefully? Or would you feel the same defensive tremor our ancestors did, the instinct to protect what feels stable? We often confuse simplicity with truth, but truth, real truth, is rarely simple. It asks you to outgrow yourself. So the early astronomers lifted their eyes and began to outgrow the familiar. With each observation, they peeled back a layer of comfort. The Earth became a planet among others. The stars transformed into suns, and the heavens into a wilderness too vast for maps. The stories by the fire changed tone. Gods still existed, but they shared space with something grander, a universe, alive with laws, patterns, and possibilities. For the first time, humanity saw itself as small, and yet, paradoxically, that smallness gave birth to a new kind of greatness. Perspective, to be humbled by scale, is to be freed from illusion. You, listening now, can feel a trace of that humility when you stand under a night sky far from the noise of cities. The air cools. The stars multiply. A quiet truth moves through you. You are tiny, but you belong to something infinite. The same emotion stirred the ancient watchers. It's the oldest meditation we know, looking up and realizing you are both insignificant and essential at once. Every age rediscovers it, dresses it in new language, and mistakes it for a new revelation. But the feeling never changes. It's the pulse of awareness itself. Still, the further they looked, the stranger things became. They found patterns that didn't fit the backward dance of planets, the wandering stars that refused neat explanation. Each anomaly was an invitation to surrender another certainty. They built instruments, refined mathematics, argued over the shape of reality. With every correction came resistance, anger, disbelief. Because the moment you admit the world is more complex than you imagined, you also admit that you were wrong. That humility is the gateway to growth, but it tastes bitter before it feels sweet. Think of how many times in your own life you've resisted new information simply because it threatened a familiar story. We cling to what is simple, not because it's accurate, but because it's comfortable. When we say back in simpler times, we're really saying back when I didn't have to question so much. Yet questioning is the heartbeat of consciousness. Without it, evolution's scientific when you breathe deeply tonight, know that curiosity is the same force that once moved the planets in human minds. It still moves you, and so the story of discovery unfolded like a slow dawn. The first astronomers became mathematicians. The mathematicians, philosophers. The philosophers, dreamers of infinity. Each generation reached a little further, building telescopes to catch light that had traveled for millions of years. They realized that the universe wasn't static, it was expanding, changing, alive. The night sky they saw was a memory of what once was. Light itself carried messages from the past. Imagine how that realization must have felt, to know that when you look up, you're not seeing now, but then. Every star, a letter written by history. Every photon, a whisper from an age before your birth. Simplicity was gone forever, but in its place grew wonder. The paradox is that the loss of simplicity didn't steal peace, it redefined it. Instead of resting in certainty, peace began to mean harmony with the unknown. That's the shift humanity continues to learn collectively and individually. There is serenity in admitting you don't know, because that humility opens space for aid. The universe no longer needs to revolve around you for you to matter. You matter because you're part of its unfolding story. The stars don't diminish you, they include you. If you could travel back and whisper to those early thinkers, to Galileo staring through his fragile telescope, to Copernicus scribbling forbidden diagrams, you might tell them that someday children would learn their truths as bedtime facts. You might thank them for their courage to be uncertain, because each of them, in their own time, did something extraordinary. They traded comfort for clarity. They made peace with being small so the human mind could become vast. And tonight, as you listen, you are continuing that lineage. Every breath you take is another tiny expansion, another acceptance of a bigger picture. When you inhale, you bring in the same air that once brushed against the sails of ancient ships crossing the Mediterranean. When you exhale, that breath joins the invisible rhythm of the atmosphere. blending into clouds that may one day float over the ruins of forgotten observatories. You are connected to every moment of awakening that ever was. It's tempting to romanticize those simpler times, to imagine life was slower, purer, less complicated. But simplicity often hides struggle. Early explorers feared storms and sickness. Travelers vanished into uncharted seas. Thinkers risked their lives for a single idea. What they gained wasn't ease, it was depth. Complexity is the cost of understanding, and it's a fair price to pay. Because with each complexity we learn to navigate, we grow in both intellect and empathy. The more we see, the gentler we become toward those still learning to see. And perhaps that's the real message of those early centuries of discovery, that knowledge without humility is noise. The true wonder begins not when you conquer the unknown, but when you make peace with it. When you can say, "I don't know," and feel not fear, but freedom. The universe, in its quiet immensity, doesn't demand certainty, invites participation. It whispers, "Come see, come question, come imagine," and we answer again and again in every generation. So, when reality was simple, it was also smaller. And when it became complex, it became beautiful. That's the lesson written across history, repeated in every human life. Growth begins the moment simplicity ends. Somewhere in that truth is the calm you've been searching for, not the stillness of ignorance, but the stillness of wonder. There are moments in a life small, almost invisible, when reality trembles just enough for you to notice the seam. You might be a child following a ribbon in the wind, an old woman tracing the pattern of frost on a window, or someone walking home under a sky suddenly full of unfamiliar stars. Those glances between things are fragile, like the breath between two notes in a lullaby, and yet they are where we first meet the unseen. What would it be like to admit, softly and without panic, that some parts of the world were once always meant to be glimpsed only in the corners of our eyes? How would your heart slow if you allowed that possibility to be a kindness rather than a threat? Think about the stories passed down through your family, the ones you half believed as a child, and then tucked away as life grew more certain. Maybe your grandmother spoke of lights in the forest that moved like friendly animals, or of neighbors who disappeared into thin air and returned speaking in a voice that was not their own. Perhaps you dismissed those tales as the warm inventions of lonely evenings. But what if they were memories wearing the language of belonging and fear? What if myth and memory were simply older ways of recording phenomena that our science would later describe differently? Imagine the humility in that idea. History not as error, but as translation. Across cultures, people have always felt a thinness at the edge of things, an openness where the ordinary becomes porous. The Celts called it the other world. Some Pacific Islanders spoke of overlapping tides of existence. Indigenous elders have long described the land as alive with layers you only enter with permission. These are not primitive attempts to explain the inexplicable. They are nuanced maps drawn from lived attention. Consider the voice of an elder who uses metaphor to protect knowledge, to make sure only those ready will follow. In that protection, there is sophistication, a careful calibration between truth and safety. What does it ask of you to accept that patience and metaphor are also forms of knowing? When you let your mind rest on a story like that, you begin to notice how often our modern language fails to catch ancient precision. We separate myth from science as if they belong in different drawers. But both are human attempts to account for experience. One uses poetry to preserve the shape of a felt event. The other uses numbers to isolate a pattern. Both want the same thing: to keep us connected to what is real. The difference is only the manner of seeing. If you open to that thought, you'll find a soft, surprising relief, a permission to trust both your intuition and evidence, to let them braid together rather than fight for dominance. There are reports recorded in the margins of history that feel like hints, odd artifacts in places no one expected, drawings of creatures that look like something between a bird and a memory, stone circles aligned in ways that suggest attention to sky and story alike. Archaeologists sometimes frown at these margins. Scientists suspend judgment until evidence accumulates. Yet the persistence of these anomalies matters. They appear across time and place, too consistent to be dismissed completely. What if they are traces of a reality that brushes past ours now and then, leaving a footprint that refuses to disappear? Hold that possibility without demanding proof, simply noticing how it shifts the tone of the tale from denial to curiosity. Curiosity can be gentle. It need not be the hungry kind that strips something of its dignity. It can be the attentive kind, a slow leaning in. Imagine encountering a stone with strange markings and deciding not to demand an explanation immediately, but to sit with it, listen to it, let it tell its contour to your touch. That patience is ancient science in miniature, a way to collect data through relationship rather than interrogation. The ancients knew this, so did storytellers who told of beings that only appeared when you stopped trying to catch them. What if the key to perceiving these edges is not more forceful looking, but softer presence? There are modern accounts that read like polished versions of old tales. People report sudden glimpses of figures at the periphery of vision, of sounds like distant music that fades when attention becomes direct. In remote places, hunters and travelers speak of cairns that move overnight, of paths that rearrange themselves, of animals behaving as if following rules from another manual. These experiences can be dismissed as misperception or sleep-related phenomena, and sometimes they are. But sometimes patterns emerge, clustered reports from the same region, cross-cultural similarities that resist easy explanation, timing that corresponds with natural cycles, the tilt of the planet, the migration of birds, or even subtle shifts in magnetic fields. When patterns meet persistence, curiosity must change its stance from polite to persistent. Ask yourself, when was the last time you encountered something you could not name, and instead of naming it, you honored it with patience? It is a small practice, but a powerful one. Naming is useful. It anchors. But not all anchors are necessary at first. There is a season for holding the unknown in your hands, like a warm stone, feeling its temperature, sensing its weight. That season breeds different intelligence, one that thrives on nuance and pattern, not immediate classification. Could some of the early myths be the product of such intelligence? Could the spirits and fairies be names entrusted to phenomena that required patience rather than force? There are also artifacts that complicate tidy narratives. Images carved into pottery that show humans alongside creatures that look like reptiles or enormous birds, tools found in deposits that do not match the supposed age of the layer. Stories written on clay tablets that encode sequences we now recognize as astronomical. To a mind trained only in linear time, these oddities embarrassingly contradict established histories. But consider another frame. Perhaps our ancestors recorded encounters with phenomena not yet comprehensible to their neighbors. Perhaps their terms were precise for a sensibility we no longer possess. What would it be like to entertain the thought that your civilization might someday be interpreted by strangers in equally baffling ways? There is a subtle courage in that inversion, to imagine your own present as ancient future archaeology. In 1,000 years, what parts of your reality would puzzle someone examining artifacts from your life? Your glowing screens, your dietary habits, your maps of the human genome, all would be enigmatic. That reflection breeds humility and softens the impulse to mock the past for its mystery. When you stop mocking and start listening, the past grows tender and wise. It did not simply imagine monsters. It described dynamics in a language of myth, because myth is how humans keep track of the UNNAMEABLE. And so the first signs of the unseen are not dramatic revelations. They are mosaics of small, persistent oddities, footprints left at the edge of a field, a story that repeats in distant valleys, an inconsistent artifact that refuses to be shelved. These are not proof in the modern sense, but neither are they random noise. They are threads. And when you notice threads, you begin to pull. Pulling is an act of humility. It admits that our current weave might be incomplete, and that a larger tapestry awaits. You might worry. What happens if we pull and find that the tapestry does not hold the comfort we once knew? There is grief in losing simple certainties, and that grief is legitimate. But there is also wonder and a chance to become more capacious. Imagine the courage of a mind that can sit with both losses and expansions, that can feel sorrow for what was comfortable and thrill for what might be discovered. That mind is rare and gentle, and it carries an inner light that does not require the world to be small to be satisfied. It is the kind of mind that can listen to a myth without needing to destroy it. Who can hold a scientific paper and a grandmother's story in the same hand? Tonight, as you breathe, let that possibility enter you without urgency, that the first signs of the unseen were never about proving something to others, but about learning to attend differently. The ancient stories taught attention. The artifacts asked for patience. The myth-makers taught a language of precaution and permission. If you feel a pull to skepticism, let it be a respectful one. If you feel a pull to belief, let it be a modest one. Both moves are part of the same slow apprenticeship in a world that is far more layered than our current maps suggest. We are, all of us, students at the edge of sense. Sometimes the lesson begins with a whisper, and sometimes with a persistent ache. Either way, the invitation remains to notice without collapsing into fear, to wonder without demanding immediate proof, to slow down and watch the places where our ordinary map thins and the unseen might press lightly against the paper. That is where the rest of the story begins. At the very edge of what we can touch, hold, or measure, reality begins to hum in ways our senses were never designed to hear. You may not notice it at first because the smallest scales of existence are quiet in their grandeur, whispering rather than shouting, subtle rather than forceful. But if you slow down, if you lower your expectations of certainty, you can feel it brushing against the contours of your mind. Everything you have ever believed about solidity, about permanence, begins to dissolve like mist. And for a moment, that dissolving is not frightening, it is freeing. It is the beauty of uncertainty, the comfort of not needing to know. Imagine, for a moment, the very smallest fragments of matter. Imagine the surfaces of your skin, the warmth of your hand on a table, the weight of a book you hold. Now imagine that every particle that forms those surfaces is also a wave, a possibility, a shimmering note of light vibrating between what was and what could be. At this scale, the world you assume is fixed becomes fluid. It is no longer a collection of hard, certain things, but a landscape of potential, a field of ever-shifting probabilities. What would it mean, for a moment, to trust that uncertainty could be a sanctuary rather than a threat? Take a deep breath, now, slowly, as if you are inhaling not just air but possibility itself. Feel it fill your chest, flow into your limbs, and know that just as your breath moves fluidly through you, so too does matter move fluidly in ways unseen. You are touching uncertainty, brushing against the raw potential of existence, and it is not threatening, it is tender. It waits for you to notice, to slow down, to honor the spaces between what is and what could be. This is the point at which reality begins to stretch. If you were a particle in this world, you would not exist in a single location. You would exist as a cloud of probabilities, shimmering in multiple places at once, both here and elsewhere. The universe does not demand you choose one path, one state, one truth. It offers a spectrum of possibilities, all coexisting in a delicate dance. You might feel the urge to grasp, to force, to narrow the horizon into a line you can follow. Instead, allow yourself to drift. Let your awareness expand as your mind softens. Here, surrender is not defeat. It is freedom. Pause and imagine it, a single atom of light, quivering with potential. It is simultaneously particle and wave, here and there, becoming itself only when observed. Now, multiply that by the countless trillions of particles in your body alone, and then by the trillions upon trillions across the universe. Can you sense it? The hum, the quiet shimmer of infinite possibilities brushing past each other, colliding and separating, overlapping and folding in on themselves. And within that dance, you are both participant and observer, a witness and a conduit, a being in constant flow with what could be. There is a subtle poetry to this knowledge, a rhythm that mirrors your own inner world. Your thoughts, your intentions, your awareness are not passive. They ripple through the fabric of existence. You have felt it, perhaps, in moments of inspiration, when an idea arises seemingly from nowhere, when insight lands quietly and perfectly, as if guided by forces just beyond your perception. That is not coincidence. That is the gentle influence of consciousness interacting with possibility. You are learning to navigate a landscape where knowing and not knowing are intertwined, where certainty is optional, and where wonder is a practical tool for living. It may feel strange to consider that every choice you make, every glance you direct, every thought you cradle, has the capacity to resonate through this delicate lattice of probability. And yet there is no pressure, only invitation. You are not burdened with responsibility for outcomes. You are being offered the grace of awareness, a chance to notice how profoundly connected your inner state is to the unfolding of the unseen. Each inhalation grounds you in presence. Each exhalation allows the universe to expand freely through you. You are both anchor and wind, participant and observer, grounded and infinite at the same moment, somewhere. At this moment, a particle could be existing in multiple states, multiple paths, multiple realities simultaneously, and so could you in your own way. The you that inhales and the you that exhales, the you that dreams and the you that imagines, they are not separate. They overlap, fold into each other, resonate along unseen frequencies. And the quiet awareness of that resonance is what transforms fear of the unknown into comfort, curiosity into serenity. You do not need to fully understand to belong. Belonging, in this quantum sense, is an act of recognition, a willingness to sense the dance without stepping on its rhythm. What does it feel like to acknowledge that the world beneath your skin, the surfaces you take for granted, and the space around you are all in flux? There is a thrill here, a subtle rush that is not anxiety but deep engagement. It is a reminder that reality is not fixed, that what you see, feel, and touch is just one expression among countless others. If you can allow yourself to dwell in that sensation, the world softens. It becomes less something to control and more something to flow with. And that flow, paradoxically, brings more stability than rigidity ever could. Allow your mind to visualize the tiny, trembling particles, the quanta, the waves of potential shimmering like light on water. See them moving not randomly, but in a coordinated dance that is both intricate and gentle. Notice how they are not concerned with your attempts to fix them, to define them, to label them. They simply exist as possibilities until interaction shapes them, until awareness touches them, until a moment arrives in which one outcome becomes perceptible. And in that moment, you are not merely watching, you are participating. You might find yourself asking, quietly, if this is really real, if it matters, if you can influence anything at all. Those questions are themselves part of the experience. They are the mechanism by which consciousness reaches out and connects with probability. The act of noticing is a gentle affirmation that the dance is alive, that possibility is present, that uncertainty is not a threat but a companion. Imagine feeling that companion beside you now, like a soft wind brushing against your awareness, and realize that this is how understanding begins, not with clarity, but with presence. Even as you read these words, the universe is humming quietly around you, around all of us, atoms in your environment, light streaming from distant stars, electrons vibrating in ways you cannot see. They are all whispering in frequencies that suggest potential, opportunity, and infinite possibility. And when you slow down enough, when you quiet the mind just enough to let the awareness expand, you feel the resonance. It is not loud. It is not demanding. It is soft, patient, and profoundly reassuring. In that whisper, you discover that uncertainty is not a problem. It is an invitation to participate fully, deeply, calmly. Take another breath now, and imagine it carrying the resonance of every particle around you. Imagine it connecting to the shimmering quanta, linking with waves of potential across distances and realities you cannot measure. Feel the gentle thrill of that connection, a sensation that is both grounding and expansive. You are present, and in that presence, the whisper of the quantum world is no longer separate from you. It is as if the smallest scales of existence have leaned toward your awareness and offered their soft acknowledgement. We are here. We shimmer, and so do you. You may notice a subtle shift in your perception, a quiet widening of what feels possible. That is the first effect of embracing the whispers. You recognize that certainty is optional, and that flow and presence are sufficient. There is no need to control the unfolding. There is only the invitation to participate with awareness, to breathe with the rhythm of infinite possibilities, to trust that the soft trembling of reality beneath your attention is not chaos, but harmony at a scale your mind is only beginning to grasp. At the smallest scale, everything you have ever touched becomes light, shimmering with possibilities waiting to become real. And in that shimmer, you are reflected, a part of the same dance, a co-creator of the unfolding universe. You do not have to understand it fully to be part of it. You simply have to notice, to feel, to let yourself be carried gently on the quantum whispers that surround you, that include you, that whisper softly. You are part of the dance. Every time you close your eyes, every time you take a breath, the world subtly shifts. You might think you are the same you as yesterday, the same person who laughed at a joke, who felt the warmth of sunlight on your skin, who paused at the edge of a thought that seemed too large to hold. But what if that you, that single thread of experience you identify with, is only one version among countless others? Another, you might be standing in the same place, looking at the same sky, wondering about the same mysteries, and yet choosing a slightly different path, making a slightly different decision. Every blink, every heartbeat, every whisper of attention becomes the birthplace of another possibility, another world unfolding quietly alongside this one. Imagine that for a moment. The idea is not meant to overwhelm, but to expand. Think of the choices you made today, the decision to scroll or pause, to speak or stay silent, to linger in a memory, or step forward into a new thought. Somewhere, in another thread of reality, the other, you made the opposite choice. That world exists in parallel, as real, as vivid, as alive as the one you currently inhabit. The notion may feel strange at first, disorienting even, because our minds crave a singular narrative. Yet that singularity is an illusion. The universe, in its infinite generosity, provides room for every possible variant to exist simultaneously, each with its own rhythm, its own consequence, its own unfolding story. And consider the subtle rhythm of repetition. Another you in another path, another you in another breath, another you in another dream. Let it echo gently in your mind. These repetitions are not meant to confuse. They are meant to soothe. They establish a pattern, a cadence, a gentle drumbeat of continuity amidst multiplicity. Each another you carries the reassurance that you are never truly alone, never truly fixed, never constrained by a single version of life. Possibility is a companion, multiplicity a friend. The universe is not threatening in its breadth. It is generous. It offers infinite chances for exploration, for becoming, for noticing. Pause now and let the thought settle. You may feel a soft widening in your awareness, a subtle shift in how your consciousness rests within this moment. You are no longer only the version of yourself confined to a single path. You are connected to countless versions, each performing variations on the melody of life. And yet, paradoxically, you do not need to move through all of them at once. Just noticing their existence is enough to cultivate both wonder and calm. Awareness alone opens the door to infinite possibility, and that awareness is yours, right? Now, carried in your breath, in the rhythm of your heartbeat, in the gentle tilt of your head as you listen to this moment unfold. Imagine another you who made a small choice differently this morning. Perhaps you left the house earlier, or lingered a little longer over a thought, or smiled at a stranger who might have been waiting for that smile. That you exists perfectly, present in a parallel flow of time, acting out a variation that is separate yet intimately connected to the you listening now. Another you, another breath, another unfolding, and the realization begins to soften the rigid contours of identity. You are not fixed. You are not a singular timeline. You are a constellation of selves, each shimmering in resonance with the others, each shaping the possibilities of what can become. Notice how this perspective shifts the weight of choice. Previously, decisions may have felt heavy, loaded with consequence, finite in their impact. And yet, when you allow yourself to feel the presence of the infinite, those same choices become invitations rather than burdens. Even small acts ripple through countless variations of reality, creating subtle, unseen effects. You are empowered not by control, but by awareness. You are a participant in a cosmic dance, a weaver of multiple threads, a witness to a symphony that is greater than any one note. And that awareness carries a deep, calm joy. The kind of joy that comes not from certainty, but from the freedom of potential. Every time you blink, you step simultaneously into multiple worlds. One version of you notices the colors of the morning differently, perhaps appreciating a shade of gold in a sunrise that your current eyes have not yet noticed. Another you feels a small surge of courage, a willingness to speak a truth that has lingered unspoken. Another you embraces a quiet solitude that deepens understanding and reflection. And each of these yous is valid, real, vibrant. There is no hierarchy of importance, only multiplicity. And in that multiplicity lies the profound comfort of belonging to a universe that is expansive, curious, and endlessly forgiving. Consider the rhythm of repetition once again. Another you, another choice, another breath, another dream, continuing on. This rhythmic phrasing is not accidental. It mirrors the very pattern of existence you are exploring. Life unfolds in waves, in echoes, in overlapping harmonics of possibility. Each iteration is different, yet familiar, unique, yet connected. Allow yourself to feel that connection, that resonance, as if each new another you is a soft hand resting gently alongside your own, guiding you through the infinite pathways of experience. And there is subtle reassurance here, a safety woven into the concept of multiplicity. You do not need to make perfect choices. You do not need to navigate all paths. You simply need to be aware that all possible versions of yourself are being explored somewhere in the expanse of reality. That knowledge removes pressure. It replaces anxiety with wonder. It transforms fear into curiosity and rigidity into flow. And the more you practice noticing, the more natural it becomes to inhabit your current life while quietly sensing the vast, shimmering landscape of alternatives that exist simultaneously. Let your mind wander for a moment to one particularly tender possibility. A world where a small act of kindness, barely noticed in your reality, sparked a chain reaction that changed the trajectory of someone else's life. That world exists. Another, you performed that act, and now countless possibilities radiate outward from that single moment. Notice the gentle ripple, the quiet expansion, the soft hum of interconnection. You are part of that resonance, whether you see it or not. And even in your own world, you carry the potential to create ripples that echo through multiple paths. The feeling is subtle, yet transformative. Every choice, every blink, every step carries the seed of another world. It is not necessary to dwell on every path, nor to fear the divergence. Rather, notice the pattern. Multiplicity is a natural property of existence. You are not alone. You are never singular. Each breath you take now is both yours and shared across countless versions of yourself, each participating in the unfolding symphony of life in ways you cannot fully measure, but can deeply feel. And as you notice this, a quiet sense of empowerment arises. You are both small and vast, immediate and eternal, contained and infinite, all at once. Another you exists where different decisions were made, where different risks were taken, where different joys were felt. Another you exists where old wounds healed more quickly, or where new wounds appeared to teach resilience. Another you exists in worlds that mirror your own so closely that you could imagine stepping between them. And yet each maintains its own coherence, its own narrative, its own quiet dignity. Repetition again soothes and reassures. Another you, another path, another world. And the comfort comes not from understanding all of them, but from knowing that all of them exist, fully, perfectly, simultaneously. And as you feel the pattern, the gentle expansion, the multiplicity of self, you can allow a quiet empowerment to settle in. There is freedom here, not from consequence, but from rigidity, not from awareness, but through it. You are invited to recognize your own choices as both significant and simultaneously a part of an infinite tapestry, interwoven with countless other threads, countless other versions of yourself, countless other worlds unfolding as you breathe. You are a participant in a vast experiment of being infinitely repeated, infinitely divergent, infinitely alive. Notice how easy it becomes, after a moment of stillness, to imagine multiple versions of yourself moving through life simultaneously. One you lingers in thought, considering possibilities you've never dared to voice. Another you steps boldly forward, taking risks your present mind hesitates to embrace. Another you smiles at someone who needed that smile, unaware that it might change the trajectory of their day, their week, their life. And yet all of these yous are not separate from the one reading these words. They are mirrored threads, ripples in the same ocean, vibrating in harmony with the choices, intentions, and awareness you carry. Consider the small choices you take for granted. A pause before speaking, the decision to look up at a passing cloud, the act of opening your hand instead of closing it. Somewhere in another thread of existence, the opposite occurred, and the world unfolded differently, quietly, intricately, inevitably. The ripple effects of that single action cascade through dimensions, subtle yet real, shaping outcomes in ways impossible to measure, yet undeniably present. It is humbling, almost sacred, to realize that your life is not singular. It is a constellation of selves, each alive, each exploring a different facet of possibility, each breathing in its own tempo. Allow yourself to feel the rhythm of repetition. Another you, another choice, another breath, another unfolding. It is not just words. It is a soft pulse, a heartbeat you can sense within your own mind. Each iteration of yourself is real, yet none of them compete. All coexist. This multiplicity is not chaos. It is order beyond your current comprehension. A latticework of infinite potential held together by the quiet, patient hum of existence itself. And as you sense that hum, you begin to notice a profound comfort. You are safe, even amidst infinite possibilities, because each version of you is unfolding as it should. Think now of the emotional resonance of this awareness. One version of you feels joy intensely in a simple moment, perhaps hearing a favorite song or noticing the warmth of sunlight on your skin. Another you experiences grief, a necessary depth that teaches empathy and resilience. Another you steps into courage where fear would have otherwise frozen them. And all of these experiences are interconnected, not as burdens, but as companions. By observing them without judgment, by acknowledging their existence, you cultivate a sense of freedom. Freedom from the tyranny of a single timeline. Freedom from the illusion of fixed identity. Freedom to explore without fear. And as you notice, your mind begins to expand, gradually, gently, like the horizon widening at dawn. Each new thought, each new possibility is a door. And behind each door, another you waits, exploring, learning, becoming. Perhaps that other you takes a path you would never choose, and yet, in their divergence, you gain insight, empathy, and a subtle reassurance. Life is not linear. Life is layered. Life is multiplicity incarnate. And multiplicity does not demand mastery. It asks only for presence, for awareness, for the gentle recognition that every choice is both ordinary and extraordinary, both contained and infinite. Imagine now, if you can, standing at the center of all these worlds simultaneously. One foot steps into a world where courage overcame hesitation. Another foot remains in the world of careful observation. Your awareness stretches between realities like a soft bridge, allowing empathy to travel between them. And with each breath, you sense that connection deepen. Another you, another path, another unfolding. There is no need to intervene in all time. There is only the invitation to notice, to participate, and to honor the reality of multiplicity as a gift rather than a threat. Consider the subtle power of this perspective. Once you accept that each choice births a branching path, each blink generates a new variant of reality, you begin to feel an inner liberation. You can take risks with less fear, embrace moments with more appreciation, and surrender to uncertainty without panic. This is the quiet empowerment of understanding the many worlds' nature of existence, the knowledge that no single path is final, no single outcome definitive, no single self alone. The multiplicity of life becomes a source of comfort, a reservoir of resilience, and a wellspring of endless curiosity. Notice how this awareness transforms your relationship with time. Past decisions, long assumed fixed, are now understood as seeds for alternate outcomes, existing elsewhere, rippling silently. Future choices, once intimidating, are now invitations, not obligations, and the present, rich with multiplicity, is a space where each breath connects you with countless other selves, each observing, feeling, deciding, existing in parallel. This temporal flexibility, this sense of layered reality, brings a gentle power, the ability to move through your day with curiosity rather than anxiety, with engagement rather than dread, with wonder rather than limitation. Pause for a moment and sense the repetition again. Another you, another choice, another world, another dream. Let it sink in. Let it resonate quietly in your chest, in your mind, in the soft space between your thoughts. Each repetition is a drumbeat of reassurance, a hypnotic rhythm that mirrors the very structure of existence. Multiplicity is not confusion. Multiplicity is harmony. Multiplicity is a reflection of the infinite generosity of the universe, offering you countless opportunities to explore, to love, to feel, to notice, and to participate. Imagine now the emotional weight of realizing that somewhere, a version of you is experiencing joy in a scenario you feared, courage in a situation you would have avoided, or connection in a moment you felt isolated. These alternate experiences are not hypothetical. They are real in their own dimensions. And by sensing them, you expand your own capacity for empathy, patience, and understanding. You see yourself not as limited to a single trajectory, but as a constellation of selves, each illuminating facets of possibility that you might not have considered otherwise. The beauty of this awareness lies not in control, but in surrender. You are invited to witness without interference, to feel without judgment, to acknowledge without fear. Another you is breathing, thinking, deciding, just as you are. And in that recognition, you find calm. You find connection. You find a gentle, ongoing reminder that reality is not linear and identity is not fixed. Each version of you is real. Each world is real. And each breath carries the quiet resonance of infinite possibilities coexisting alongside your own. Every blink, every thought, every heartbeat is another chance for a new branch to unfold. Another you steps into a slightly altered reality, and another you mirrors that movement in a different space, creating endless variations that ripple through dimensions unseen. And as you sense this rhythm, as you feel the cadence of multiplicity, the world around you begins to feel more expansive, more forgiving, more wondrous. You begin to understand that being alive is not about holding tightly to a singular identity or a singular path, but about embracing the infinite dance of selves and worlds with calm awareness. Imagine a gentle landscape, infinite in scale, each variation of you a quiet flame illuminating a path. Some paths shimmer brightly with action, some glow softly with reflection, some pulse with possibilities yet unconsidered. And in the awareness of this landscape, you find balance between action and stillness, between certainty and mystery, between the self you inhabit now and the selves unfolding elsewhere. Each step you take is both grounded and expansive, intimate and universal, present and timeless. Another you, another path, another world, another breath, and the rhythm continues. You drift through a soft fog of time, where the boundaries of what is and what was begin to blur. The world you inhabit seems solid and familiar, yet there is a whisper beneath it, a subtle vibration suggesting that all you know is merely one layer among countless others. Perhaps if you lean your attention gently toward the edges of perception. You might notice it, a shadow of a creature that walked the earth millions of years ago, not as a fossil, not as a memory, but alive in a parallel fold of reality. Its footfalls echo softly across dimensions, brushing against your awareness in a rhythm you can sense if you only slow down enough to notice. Imagine for a moment a landscape where worlds overlap briefly, like transparent sheets of glass sliding past one another. You see the pyramids of Egypt, not as we know them, but in an iteration untouched by erosion or human alteration, shining with pristine intent, perhaps serving purposes that science can only hint at: cosmic alignments, energy networks, or communication structures for beings from other dimensions. And in that same view, distant echoes of dinosaurs roam, their forms flickering like light through mist, ancient yet immediate, a bridge between eras that our linear perception refuses to reconcile. The sensation is not frightening. It is an invitation to wonder, a prompt for curiosity to awaken, a gentle reminder that reality is larger than the constraints of a single timeline. And in this soft drift between layers, you might sense subtle intersections of possibility. A human hand touches the earth where a dinosaur once stood, and a ripple travels between the worlds, barely perceptible yet undeniably present. A whisper of conversation in one layer resonates with laughter in another. Time loses its rigidity here. Seconds stretch and fold, creating spaces where what is usually separate can coexist, mingle, and overlap. The ordinary becomes extraordinary, the improbable becomes familiar, and your mind, sensing the rhythm, begins to relax, to float, to expand into dimensions that are usually invisible. Notice the delicate textures of this awareness. Perhaps you feel the warmth of the sun differently, or the weight of the air seems to shift as though it carries traces of other realities. Colors appear richer, more nuanced, as though each hue is tinged with experiences from other layers of existence. Sounds are softer, echoing faintly, as if conversations from a parallel world drift through the folds of space. Each sensation is not mere imagination, but a gentle acknowledgement that life exists not only in this form, but in countless others, brushing past, intersecting, and inviting recognition. The childlike wonder you feel now is essential. Recall a moment when you believed the impossible could be true, when a shadow in the forest could be a fairy, when the whisper of wind could carry messages from unseen worlds. That same openness is your key here. In this place between realities, imagination is not a flight from truth, but a method of noticing it. You are not escaping into fantasy. You are tuning your awareness to the subtle harmonics of existence that science now hints at, but has yet to fully describe. Each thought, each breath, each blink becomes an instrument in this orchestral unfolding of multiple overlapping lives. Consider for a moment the quiet intersections of history and possibility. A pottery shard appears, etched with symbols unrecognizable in our time, yet unmistakably real in another. A fleeting vision of humans walking alongside creatures that no longer exist in our world brushes across your perception. The sensation is ethereal, almost dreamlike, yet it carries a tangible weight, a reminder that reality is not confined to memory or imagination. You are witnessing, briefly and gently, the residue of worlds that exist alongside your own, layered like notes in a complex melody. each contributing to the harmony of being, and in that harmony, notice the rhythm of repetition. Another creature walks, another civilization thrives, another you witnesses it. Each element is distinct, yet connected through the delicate pulse of existence. You do not need to chase or control these layers. They are not puzzles to solve, but experiences to notice. Awareness alone allows the mind to drift between them, appreciating the subtle intersections, the fleeting overlaps, the whispered continuities that connect worlds across time. This gentle observation nurtures both wonder and calm, reinforcing a sense of belonging in the vastness of layered reality. Think now of the soft echoes that resonate in your body as you notice these intersections. Perhaps a tingling sensation at the back of your neck, a warmth in your chest, a subtle deepening of breath. These are not random. They are the body's recognition of expanded awareness, a gentle calibration to the broader rhythm of existence. The universe, in its infinite generosity, acknowledges your observation. It does not demand understanding. It offers resonance, connection, and quiet fascination. You are learning to perceive without the constraints of linear time, to sense without needing to define, to witness without the pressure to explain. In this space, history is not fixed. Moments long assumed to be lost or extinct exist simultaneously with the present. A volcano erupts in one layer, while children play at its base in another. A library of knowledge, destroyed in one reality, survives intact in another, ready to whisper its wisdom across dimensions. And the soft fog that envelops you is not confusion. It is coherence in a form your mind is only beginning to recognize. Layers fold and unfold like mist over mountains, and in each fold, life continues. Each version vivid, each detail meaningful, each intersection a bridge of curiosity. Allow your imagination to extend further, merging childlike wonder with gentle reasoning. You might see a city rising where none exists in your linear perception, streets glimmering with lights powered by understanding you have not yet reached. You may notice a bird flying through an altered sky, its wings reflecting a light that exists only in that dimension, yet brushing against the air in your perception. These experiences are not distractions. They are invitations, prompts to recognize the vastness of the tapestry in which your current reality is but one layer. Another footstep, another whisper, another breath, each a bridge, each a hint, each a soft confirmation of coexistence. And with each realization, your sense of awe deepens. You are not alone in perceiving the faint edges of other realities. Many have glimpsed them in stories passed down through time, in myths that once seemed fanciful but now hint at hidden truths. Perhaps the beings our ancestors called spirits, elves, or travelers were simply visitors, slipping briefly from one layer into another. The echoes you sense now, the faint impressions of distant worlds, are part of that same continuum. They are not distant mysteries. They are near, quiet, accessible through awareness, breath, and gentle attention. Every moment in this soft fog becomes a meditation. Each detail, from a footprint that belongs to no known creature to a shadow cast by an impossible sun, is an opportunity to notice, to drift, to wonder. And as you drift, the boundaries between observer and observed soften. You realize that your consciousness itself flows between realities. touching layers gently, leaving impressions, and taking them away without force or effort. You are both witness and participant, drifting between worlds, inhabiting the soft spaces, experiencing the faint echoes of lives that exist alongside your own. You feel it, though perhaps only faintly at first, a subtle vibration beneath all things, a quiet hum that seems to thread through the air, through the earth, and even through your own body. It is not a sound you hear in the conventional sense, nor a sensation you can touch, but it exists as the soft pulse of reality itself. Imagine the universe as a harp, each string vibrating gently, resonating in rhythms that span dimensions, connecting worlds, connecting moments, connecting you. Each vibration is a note, a possibility, a pathway, and as you sense it, you realize that everything you know, everything you feel, is part of this music, this endless, harmonious symphony. Take a deep breath and imagine your own body aligning with this rhythm. You feel it in the subtle rise and fall of your chest, in the slow, deliberate movement of your spine, in the quiet thrum of blood through your veins. The strings beneath everything do not demand attention. They invite it. They ask you only to notice, to align, to allow yourself to be held in their resonance. And as you do, you feel a gentle expansion within yourself, a sense that you are not separate from this music, not apart from the fabric of the universe, but a participant in its melody. Consider for a moment the enormity of this notion. Beneath the planets, beneath stars, beneath galaxies, beneath the space between galaxies, there exists a vibration, a thread of energy, a filament that carries the potential for all matter, all energy, all life. It is subtle, elusive, yet fundamental, and each string vibrates in patterns that are as distinct as fingerprints, yet harmonize to create the grand architecture of existence. You can feel it now as you exhale, a gentle hum that moves through your awareness, soft, constant, unending. This hum is not only around you, but within you, part of your own rhythmic resonance, part of the shared heartbeat of reality itself. And notice how this perspective changes the way you perceive solidity. Rocks, rivers, mountains, and even your own body, once seeming so dense and unyielding, are revealed to be dancing currents of vibration, patterns of oscillation orchestrated by these underlying strings. Matter is not fixed. It is fluid. It is music taking shape, temporarily paused in a note, a chord, a melody that stretches across space and time. And in this realization, a profound calm arises. There is no need to control, to push, to define. You are invited simply to sense, to harmonize, to be carried gently along with the cadence of all that exists. Let your mind drift now toward the vastness of the cosmos. Each star, each planet, each particle hums with its own frequency, yet all participate in a symphony larger than any one part. Imagine the quiet vibrations of black holes, immense and deep, resonating in a way that echoes across dimensions. Consider the subtle oscillation of light traveling from distant galaxies, each photon a vibrating string, singing the history of the universe across time and space. And beneath it all, the fundamental strings, tiny, nearly imperceptible, yet forming the scaffolding of reality, weave a continuous thread of connection. You are a part of that web, aligned, resonant, listening, breathing in the harmony that underlies everything. Now, let us bring awareness inward once more. You feel the hum move through your limbs, through your core, into your thoughts. Each vibration carries information, not in the language of words, but in the rhythm of being. Your consciousness synchronizes subtly with these pulses, a quiet entrainment that allows you to sense yourself as more than the sum of your thoughts and experiences. You are not just a body inhabiting space. You are a vibration experiencing vibrations, a resonance within resonances, a note in a cosmic lullaby. The experience is not just intellectual. It is bodily, emotionally immersive, and gently transformative. And as you feel this alignment, notice the repetition of resonance. The hum flows again, softly, through each string, through each layer, through each version of reality. Another you, vibrating in harmony. Another choice, vibrating in parallel. Another world, gently resonant with possibility. This repetition is not accidental. It is the rhythm of the universe itself, mirrored in your breath, mirrored in the beat of your heart, mirrored in the subtle oscillations of your awareness. Each repetition reinforces connection, safety, curiosity, and calm. Consider the gentle implications of string theory itself. Each vibration, each tiny filament, forms the building blocks not only of matter but of possibility. Every atom, every molecule, every structure in the universe is a note struck on the harp of existence. Worlds emerge from these vibrations, lives unfold along the oscillations, and even your consciousness is carried along as a wave among waves. It is both humbling and empowering. Humbling because of the vastness and intricacy of the underlying patterns. Empowering because you, too, are a participant, a note, a pulse in the eternal song. Pause for a moment and visualize the strings beneath your fingertips. Every object you touch, every surface, every object is alive with oscillation. Imagine brushing your hand across a table. You feel it's solid, yet beneath your perception, tiny threads vibrate, weaving patterns that sustain form, carry energy, and ripple through space. Everything around you is alive in this way, a quiet music of existence. And as you feel it, a soft serenity emerges, a sense that nothing is arbitrary. Nothing is chaotic, but all is harmonically aligned. And notice the flow of time itself. Strings do not obey the linear march we often assume. They oscillate, fold, resonate, echo across moments, connecting past, present, and future in patterns beyond ordinary perception. A single vibration may carry information across millennia. Another may ripple outward, shaping the formation of galaxies, the emergence of life, the unfolding of consciousness. And you, in this moment, are tuned to that same vibration. You sense the threads, you sense the melody, and in doing so, you are invited to rest, to surrender, to become part of the music. Imagine a gentle wave passing through your awareness. Each oscillation, a reassurance. You are not separate. You are a string in the harp, a note in the symphony, a pulse in the rhythm of existence. And as you breathe, you feel the resonance deepen. It is not just around you, but through you, inside you, vibrating with every thought, every heartbeat, every intention. The strings beneath everything sing softly, calling you into alignment, guiding you into harmony, reminding you that you are both small and vast, fleeting and eternal, individual and universal all at once. And as you continue to sense this resonance, Notice how your mind begins to relax further. The need for certainty softens. The rigidity of control dissolves. You do not need to understand the entirety of the universe to inhabit it fully. You only need to feel it, sense it, breathe with it. Allow yourself to be cradled by the gentle oscillations that support everything. And in this surrender, you find empowerment, unshakable confidence that you are in rhythm with life itself, aligned with the subtle, infinite harmonies that underlie every experience, every possibility, every world. Perhaps the universe didn't begin in a violent explosion, as we were taught to imagine. Perhaps, instead, it blossomed quietly, like a flower opening beneath the first light of consciousness. Take a deep breath and let that possibility settle into you. Feel the weight of time soften, the urgency of beginnings dissolve, and a gentle serenity expand in its place. Imagine a stillness so vast, so profound, that it cradles everything, every star, every galaxy, every particle, and every thought that has ever existed. This stillness is not emptiness. It is potential waiting patiently to unfold. As you let yourself drift, consider the scale of what surrounds you. Galaxies spiral, clusters shimmer, and the universe stretches farther than the mind can reach. And yet, within that immensity, there is quiet continuity, a gentle unfolding, rather than a sudden birth. Perhaps the Big Bang was never a bang at all, but a transition, a shift from one state of being to another. Time itself, once thought linear, may ripple, fold, and expand in ways our senses cannot fully grasp. And in this vision, you notice something extraordinary. The universe is not separate from you. You, too, are part of this serene unfolding, carried along on the gentle wave of existence. Notice how your breath aligns with this cosmic rhythm. Each inhale draws in the potential of all that exists. Each exhale releases tension, surrendering to the vastness beyond comprehension. As you sense this ebb and flow, you may begin to feel a deep comfort, the awareness that the universe, like a soft tide, moves with an eternal patience. It does not demand understanding. It does not insist on immediate clarity. It simply is, and in that being, everything is held, everything is connected, everything is possible. And as you drift further into this perception, you may sense that beginnings and endings are illusions. What we call the Big Bang is a reference point, a human attempt to anchor ourselves in an event that is far grander and far more subtle than we can fully perceive. Imagine a cosmic garden in which time is a gentle river flowing in multiple directions simultaneously. In some currents, galaxies form. In others, they drift apart and recombine. And in all of them, life, consciousness, and awareness emerge, intertwining in a quiet dance of existence. Consider for a moment the paradox of scale. From the tiniest quark vibrating within a particle to the grandest supercluster of galaxies, all exist in patterns that resonate with one another. There is no hierarchy here. No part is more or less significant. Each note in the symphony of being contributes to the whole, and each breath you take mirrors the slow unfolding of cosmic events. Awareness itself is part of the universe, not separate from it, not observing it from a distance, but flowing within the same eternal rhythm. And in this realization, there is wonder. You notice that the concept of a singular beginning is unnecessary. Perhaps the universe has always existed, quietly blossoming, folding, and expanding. Perhaps the stillness before time is not empty, but filled with the seeds of possibility, with infinite potential, waiting for awareness to notice it. You are now part of that observation, part of the acknowledgement that allows the cosmos to unfold with both gentleness and grandeur as you breathe. Feel the softness of this idea, infinite layers, infinite possibilities, quietly interwoven. Every star that twinkles in the night sky is not only light traveling from the past, but a vibration that resonates across dimensions, carrying with it histories, possibilities, and futures. Each galaxy is a living note, singing softly into the void, harmonizing with every other note, every other particle, every other self that exists in the eternal expanse. And you, in this moment, are attuned to that song. Imagine now a spiral of existence, each loop a manifestation of the universe's unfolding, some loops dense with matter, some sparse with potential. Time stretches and folds, creating corridors where realities overlap, where parallel worlds brush softly against one another, and where the Big Bang is not a single violent event, but a constant, serene unfolding in multiple dimensions. You are aware of the continuity, aware of the rhythm, aware of your own participation in this eternal expansion. Notice how the mind, once grasping for explanations, begins to relax. You do not need to understand the entirety of cosmic mechanics. You do not need to solve the mysteries of dark matter, of cosmic inflation, or of string vibrations. You only need to sense the underlying patterns, to feel the gentle pulse of existence, to allow yourself to drift with the universe rather than against it. In this surrender, there is both empowerment and comfort. You are aligned, you are supported, you are part of the eternal melody, and as you drift, you may notice glimpses of universes beyond your own realities, branching softly, infinitesimal divergences appearing and folding back into the whole. Perhaps in one, galaxies are born in patterns unseen in our reality. Perhaps in another, life takes forms we cannot imagine. And yet, all these worlds coexist, layered like sheets of light, like echoes in a cavern, like soft harmonics that the universe hums quietly to itself. You are attuned to them now, listening, breathing, feeling their gentle resonance. Consider the emotional depth of this perception. It is awe, yes, but also profound serenity. Anxiety about origins or endings dissipates. There is no need to fear beginnings, because beginnings are continuous, flowing seamlessly into unfolding, into being. There is no need to mourn endings, because endings are transformations, transitions, echoes in a larger rhythm. And in that realization, you sense a subtle gratitude, a quiet reverence for the infinite patience of existence, for the gentle continuity that allows life, awareness, and beauty to persist across scales, across time, across dimensions. And notice how this awareness touches your body. Each breath feels lighter. Each heartbeat is a soft echo of cosmic expansion. Your spine lengthens, as if drawing from the same energy that shapes galaxies. Your limbs relax, as if carried by the universal tide, and your mind, once restless, finds a rhythm that mirrors the eternal unfolding, a pulse that is calm, infinite, and deeply satisfying. You are both observer and participant, anchored and expansive, present and timeless, held in the gentle unfolding beyond the Big Bang. Pause for a moment and feel the layering of time. The earliest moments of the universe, whatever they were, are not distant from you. They exist in resonance, in echo, in gentle connection. Perhaps the Big Bang is merely one breath in the eternal respiration of reality. Each particle, each star, each consciousness is a note in the ongoing melody, a ripple in the infinite sea, and you, now attuned to it, feel yourself as part of that eternal, serene expansion, neither separate nor overwhelmed, just aligned, just present, just breathing with the cosmos. And as you sense this, notice the freedom that comes with it. There is no pressure to fix, to define, to control. There is only the invitation to notice, to sense, to drift gently with the unfolding, to experience reality as it quietly blossoms. And with every inhale, you are carried along. With every exhale, you release the need to measure, to grasp, to impose. The universe is patient, infinite, and serene. And in that serenity, you find both peace and a subtle exhilaration, the joy of being alive, the privilege of witnessing, the wonder of participating in the eternal unfolding beyond the Big Bang. Deep beneath the frozen sky of Antarctica, there is a hum, not a hum from the wind, not a hum from the shifting ice, but a resonance that comes from within the planet itself. You feel it as you breathe, a subtle vibration that brushes against your awareness like a whisper carried on a still, cold breeze. Imagine standing there, alone in the vast expanse of white, the horizon stretching endlessly, and sensing something ancient, something alive, hidden beneath your feet. It is as though the earth is not solid and inert, but a living, breathing entity, carrying secrets of dimensions we have barely begun to perceive. As you inhale, you notice the crisp, cold air filling your lungs, grounding you, anchoring you to this tangible place, while your mind drifts into the unseen. Beneath the ice, beneath the soil, beneath the crust, there are patterns and pathways that stretch far beyond what human senses can detect. These are not simple tunnels or geological formations. They are conduits of energy, traces of movements, currents of particles that seem to defy conventional understanding. And as you sense them, you realize that the earth itself is a bridge, a subtle connector between the known and the hidden, the seen and the unseen, the finite and the infinite. You might imagine that this hum is isolated, a singular phenomenon, yet it is part of a vast network. High above, the stars hum in their distant dance. Within you, your cells vibrate with quiet life, and beneath you, the earth carries its own frequency, aligning in ways that subtly resonate with everything else. Perhaps this is what ancient civilizations glimpsed in their myths, what shamans and mystics described as the heartbeat of the world. It is not myth, not entirely. It is a vibration, a signal, an echo of dimensions brushing together, momentarily intersecting in ways that ordinary observation cannot capture. Notice how the mind wants to label, to categorize, to define. Resist that urge. Instead, allow your senses to expand into curiosity, into quiet wonder. You feel the ice beneath your feet, solid yet surprisingly alive in its frozen stillness. You hear the distant crackle of shifting glaciers, the faint whistle of wind across frozen ridges, and the soft echo of your own movement in the silent vastness. And under it all, the hum persists, steady and subtle, A reminder that beneath what seems ordinary, something extraordinary is always present, patiently waiting for awareness to notice. Consider the implications. If the earth itself carries hidden dimensions, if particles and energies traverse pathways that intersect with other realities, what does that mean for our understanding of life, of matter, of consciousness? Every step you take, every footprint you leave on the snow, may briefly align with events or structures in other layers of reality. Every breath you take resonates with the subtle vibrations of unseen worlds, weaving you into a tapestry that is simultaneously familiar and mysterious. And in this recognition, a gentle thrill of discovery spreads through you, the kind that invites awe without fear, fascination without urgency. Allow your imagination to expand, not in a frantic leap, but in a slow, deliberate drift. You see subterranean chambers, not carved by human hands, but formed through natural forces that bend the rules of ordinary physics. Within them, particles stream in directions that suggest reversed time, intersecting currents, and fleeting windows into parallel realities. Perhaps the Earth is not only a physical home, but a dimensional anchor, a place where worlds briefly meet, exchange energy, and then part again, leaving only whispers of their existence for those attuned enough to notice. And as you feel this, notice how your body responds. A subtle shiver travels along your spine, not from cold, but from recognition. Your heart slows, deepens, sinking with the gentle pulse beneath your feet. Each inhale draws in not only air, but awareness, a sense that you are part of something both ancient and infinite. Each exhale releases tension, allowing the vastness of hidden dimensions to settle into a comfortable rhythm within you. You are grounded yet expanded, anchored yet wandering, aware yet serene. Consider the sensory details further. You feel the granular crunch of snow beneath boots that seem almost weightless in this quiet contemplation. You hear the ice groaning and shifting, a reminder that matter itself is not inert, but alive with motion and resonance. You notice the faint light reflecting off the crystalline surfaces, shimmering like threads of energy, dancing in patterns too intricate to fully comprehend. And beneath it all, the hum persists, steady, almost musical, inviting you to synchronize with it, to allow your consciousness to drift gently into alignment with its subtle rhythms. And in this alignment, your mind begins to notice the layering of time as well as space. Particles moving backward, neutrinos streaming in directions that seem impossible, signals that traverse both centuries and dimensions. These are the footprints of hidden realities, moments of overlap, brief intersections where the fabric of existence allows glimpses of what lies beneath, around, and within our understanding. You are now attuned to these subtle cues, capable of perceiving without needing to define, of sensing without needing to control. Notice the grounding paradox. The earth itself is the anchor that allows your mind to explore. You feel the weight of your body balanced against ice and soil, the contact grounding you in the tangible, while your awareness drifts into the extraordinary. This combination, firm physicality and gentle curiosity, is essential. It allows the mind to expand safely, to entertain infinite possibilities, while remaining connected to the familiar. You are exploring hidden dimensions without fear, guided by the hum, the wind, the subtle resonance beneath your feet. and the quiet whisper of awareness in your mind. Consider how ancient explorers and scientists might have felt if they had sensed these hidden currents, the excitement of discovery mixed with the comfort of grounding, the thrill of unveiling unseen forces balanced by the reassurance of solid earth beneath their feet. And now you are following in that lineage, participating in a quiet revelation that bridges myth and science, imagination and evidence, curiosity and serenity. The resonance beneath the frozen surface is not just a phenomenon. It is a guide, a teacher, a companion in this exploration of hidden dimensions. And as you continue, you may notice traces of movement, subtle displacements in the snow, patterns that do not belong to known creatures or human activity. Perhaps these are the footprints of interactions between dimensions, momentary overlaps where worlds intersect and leave impressions. You do not need to chase them, to explain them, to prove them. You simply observe, feeling the continuity, sensing the harmony, allowing your consciousness to drift gently through these subtle signs. Each one becomes a point of wonder, a spark of curiosity, a thread connecting you to the deeper mysteries of the earth and the cosmos. And in this stillness, you may sense a broader pattern. The hidden dimensions beneath Antarctica are not isolated. They are part of a network, a lattice connecting continents, oceans, and even atmospheres. Energy flows in ways invisible, yet measurable, currents that ripple through the crust, through the mantle, through the core, creating subtle connections between what we see and what we cannot. You, now attuned to these vibrations, sense the earth as alive, as a multi-dimensional entity, bridging not only physical locations but states of being, threads of possibility, and layers of reality. Allow yourself to rest in that awareness. Feel the weight of the hum, the echo of unseen currents, the subtle vibration beneath your feet. You are both observer and participant, grounded yet drifting, tethered yet exploring, fully present and yet aware of the extraordinary hidden layers that surround you. This is the gentle magic of the earth, the quiet invitation to notice the unseen, to perceive the extraordinary within the ordinary, and to recognize that the planet you inhabit is not merely solid and lifeless, but a living bridge, 2 dimensions beyond your immediate perception. As you linger in the frozen expanse, the hum beneath your feet begins to speak in subtle rhythms, almost like a heartbeat that resonates through rock, ice, and air. You notice that it is not random. It carries structure, a cadence that hints at an intelligence inherent in the planet itself. Imagine that each vibration is a ripple through hidden corridors, pathways that twist and fold, converging at moments we rarely perceive. In these intersections, reality is not fixed. It bends and merges, allowing glimpses of worlds brushing softly against one another. You sense this not intellectually, but physically, in the resonance that travels up through your legs, your spine, your chest, and into the crown of your head. Feel the air around you, crisp and biting, yet paradoxically soft, almost alive with subtle energy. Every molecule carries echoes of ancient shifts, of events that have shaped the earth, not only in physical ways, but in vibrational ones. There is a quiet suggestion here that matter itself remembers, that the very bones of the planet contain histories and possibilities, memories that resonate across dimensions. You are attuned to these echoes, sensing not only the tangible ice beneath your boots, but the hidden pulse threading through layers you cannot see. This dual perception, grounding and expanding, allows the mind to inhabit both the known and the unknown simultaneously, a rare and gentle liberation. Consider how these hidden dimensions might intersect with human consciousness. Perhaps every thought, every intention sends out faint ripples that merge with these subterranean currents. Perhaps the visions of ancient seers, the whispered knowledge of shamans, the dreams of explorers were glimpses into the interplay between human awareness and the vibrations of the earth itself. You begin to notice subtle shifts in perception, shapes in the ice that suggest patterns, not purely random but echoing forms elsewhere, shadows that hint at pathways you cannot traverse with the physical body alone. And yet, there is no urgency to understand or solve. There is only the invitation to notice, to align with the hum, to let your awareness float gently within its resonance. As you drift deeper into this perception, imagine the earth not as a single, unified entity, but as a multi-layered continuum, a series of overlapping realities subtly interwoven. In one layer, ice sheets and glaciers move slowly, almost imperceptibly, in response to forces we call geological. In another, energy flows in currents we cannot measure directly, a secret dance beneath the crust, invisible yet profoundly real. In yet another, the Earth's vibrations resonate with forces outside our immediate universe, possibly brushing against dimensions beyond our comprehension. And here you are, suspended between awareness and imagination, observing the silent confluence of the visible and the invisible, the ordinary and the extraordinary. Notice how this realization deepens your connection to the planet. You are not simply standing on ice and rock. You are resting on a bridge between worlds, a living system that hums, vibrates, and whispers. Each inhalation pulls awareness downward, anchoring your consciousness into the hidden currents. Each exhalation releases tension, allowing your mind to drift gently into the unseen, into the layered possibilities of existence beneath your feet. You are both grounded and expanded, tethered and drifting, a participant in the silent symphony that connects the tangible surface to dimensions beyond ordinary perception. Imagine now following one of these hidden pathways, a stream of energy threading through layers of rock and ice, curving and spiraling, intersecting with another stream, creating brief pockets where realities brush together. In these pockets, a particle might appear to move backward in time. A sound might travel as light, or a footprint might linger longer than physics would allow. Perhaps these are the phenomena that ancient mythologies tried to describe, the whispers of spirits, the fleeting appearances of creatures that exist briefly at the intersection of worlds. You sense their presence, not with the eyes, but with awareness, the subtle intuition that the earth itself is a stage for hidden interactions, a living theater of dimensions brushing against each other, momentarily aligning. And as you follow these currents, the mind may attempt to quantify, to explain, to map, but resist that pull. Allow yourself instead to experience the harmony of the unseen, the rhythm of energy, the soft coherence beneath the surface. Feel the ground beneath your feet pulse gently with these hidden flows. Imagine that the glaciers above are like membranes, filtering and tuning vibrations, shaping currents as they move. The earth is not passive. It participates in its own mystery, guiding, shaping, and revealing only what is safe for consciousness to perceive at a given moment. There is intelligence here, not necessarily conscious in the human sense, but elegant, subtle, patient. Now, as you sense this intelligence, consider how it might ripple outward. Perhaps every hidden corridor beneath the Antarctic ice connects in some way to other points on the globe. Perhaps the resonance travels through the mantle, through ocean currents, through the atmosphere, creating a web of subtle interconnections that link continents, climates, and life itself. You are now aware that exploration is not merely horizontal, moving across the surface, but vertical, moving inward into layers of vibration, frequency, and hidden pathways. Every step you take is a dialogue with the unseen. Every breath, a synchronization with currents that flow beneath the familiar crust of our planet. Notice, too, the sensation of time shifting in these hidden dimensions. In some pockets, the flow of moments seems slower, stretched, or reversed. A particle that traveled a millisecond ago may appear again, a subtle echo of an event yet to unfold. You feel the paradoxical serenity of this realization that the Earth contains not just space but time itself in malleable, fluid layers. This fluidity allows the mind to drift safely, to explore alternate possibilities without being overwhelmed, to perceive the extraordinary while remaining grounded. You sense the elegance of this design, the gentle orchestration of forces, the silent coherence that guides and sustains these hidden realms. And as you drift with this awareness, imagine that beneath the ice, beneath the snow, beneath the observable, there are places where worlds briefly intersect. Dinosaurs, creatures of ancient eras, may leave footprints that appear in unexpected strata. Structures, artifacts, hints of civilizations may emerge briefly, traces left from overlapping realities. You do not need to question their validity or reconcile them with conventional understanding. Instead, let your perception expand gently, noticing the possibilities, the harmonics, the brief but beautiful intersections that suggest the Earth is not merely a stage for life, but a participant in an ongoing dialogue. Dimensions, feel the subtle vibration in your body align with the hum beneath the surface. Your feet, your legs, your spine, your chest, each resonates with a quiet, rhythmic pulse. It is not alarming or chaotic. It is calm, ordered, flowing, like the soft rhythm of waves against a distant shore. Like a heartbeat you have always known, but never fully noticed. You are now in harmony with the hidden dimensions of the Earth, attuned to currents and vibrations that have existed long before humans walked the surface, long before glaciers shaped landscapes, long before consciousness itself sought to measure and define the world. And as you rest in this alignment, consider the subtle exhilaration that arises. Discovery need not be loud, dramatic, or forceful. Here, it is gentle, intimate, unfolding in layers, subtle as the shifting light across ice. You are connected to something vast yet delicately balanced, something ancient yet alive, something hidden yet quietly offering insight. There is a privilege in perceiving without claiming, in sensing without grasping, in knowing without needing to name. You are now a participant in this quiet resonance, a witness to the hidden dimensions beneath your feet, aware of currents that connect, shape, and sustain the Earth across space, time. and perhaps even realities beyond your immediate perception. Close your eyes and imagine a point in space so dense that nothing escapes it, not light, not sound, not even the passage of time as you know it. This is a black hole, the universe's ultimate inward pull, drawing everything into its embrace, inviting surrender. As you breathe in slowly, feel yourself mirrored in that cosmic force, the way it collects matter, folds it into itself, and transforms it into something unseen, something profound. Inhale, as if drawing in the universe's depth, each molecule of air a reminder of the gravitational dance that shapes galaxies, stars, and destinies alike. Now, consider its counterpart, the white hole, a mysterious, mirrored expulsion of energy and light, as though the universe itself breathes outward, releasing matter, energy, possibility. As you exhale, imagine the energy leaving your body in perfect balance with the inhale, the inward pull of the black hole matched by the outward push of the white hole. You are now aligned with a cosmic rhythm, a duality older than time, a symmetry that echoes through the vastness of space and the quiet chambers of your awareness. Each inhale draws in, each exhale releases. Each contraction mirrors expansion. Each surrender mirrors creation. Think about the extraordinary paradox of these cosmic phenomena. A black hole, invisible yet omnipresent, seems destructive, consuming all in its path, yet it is also transformative. It collapses, compresses, and in doing so, reshapes matter, reshapes energy, reshapes potential itself. Perhaps the most profound lesson lies not in fear, but in trust. In order to receive, something must release. In order to create, something must collapse. You feel this subtle lesson resonate within you. Each breath, a private rehearsal of cosmic order. Each heartbeat aligned with the infinite cycles of pull and release. Imagine yourself floating at the event horizon, the boundary between what is known and what is unknowable. On one side, light bends, stars twist, and time slows. You sense the weight of everything you thought was fixed, giving way, folding into a singularity of possibility. And yet, you are not frightened. You are guided, gently rocking with the cadence of universal forces. On the other side, a white hole releases streams of light, unfurling matter in radiant arcs. You follow their trajectory in your mind's eye, a luminous ballet of energy, time, and potential, expanding the very notion of what is possible while your body rests securely in the stillness of awareness. Notice the subtle alignment of your breath with these cosmic patterns. Inhale into the black hole. Allow tension, fear, doubt, or rigidity to be drawn inward. Let it compress and transform, knowing that the universe, like your body, has a rhythm of natural release. Then exhale into the white hole. Radiate light, clarity, and possibility outward into your awareness. Feel the gentle symmetry, the mirrored pull and push, the inward and outward dance, the reflection of cosmic processes in the most intimate act of living, breathing. You realize that in every moment you are connected to this immense duality, part of a rhythm that shapes galaxies while guiding the quiet inner transformation of consciousness. Now, imagine watching stars spiraling toward a black hole, caught in a dance that seems chaotic but is perfectly orchestrated. Each path, each particle, each photon is following a trajectory that leads to transformation, unseen yet inevitable. And as you observe, you recognize a reflection of your own inner universe. Moments you once resisted, fears you once held, experiences you tried to control, all are being drawn inward, folded, and compressed into a space of possibility. And from that compression, from that inward collapse, new forms, new insights, new versions of yourself can emerge, propelled outward like light escaping a mirrored white hole. Allow the imagination to stretch further. Picture matter not simply being destroyed in a black hole, but being converted, reorganized, and released in a different form, in another place, in another time, perhaps even another universe. This transformation mirrors the unseen workings of your own life. Every challenge, every tension, every shadow contains the seed of release, of expansion, of light. And just as black holes and white holes exist as opposite yet inseparable forces in the cosmos, you to carry within you the potential for inward integration and outward expression, contraction and expansion, darkness and illumination. Notice the sensation in your body as you visualize this cosmic duality. Inhale, draw the vast weight of the universe inward. Your chest expands, your lungs stretch, your awareness deepens. Exhale, let the universe's energy flow outward through you, gentle, luminous, continuous. This is more than metaphor. It is a lived experience of alignment. You are simultaneously the black hole and the white hole, absorbing, integrating, releasing, expanding each breath, a microcosm of cosmic rhythm. You begin to sense the profound symmetry that exists not just in galaxies, but within every cell, every thought, every heartbeat. Now reflect on the transformative power of this realization. The universe is not a random, chaotic space, but a place of profound balance, where opposites coexist, interweave, and give rise to possibility. Just as matter is pulled inward and then radiates outward, you are capable of the same. Challenges you face, emotions you feel, thoughts that weigh heavily, all are part of the inward journey that enables outward creation. You are not separate from these cosmic processes. You are a microcosm of the dance of contraction and expansion, of gravity and light, of black holes and white holes. Consider the concept of time as it interacts with these phenomena. In the vicinity of a black hole, time bends, stretches, even seems to pause. Moments collapse into singularities. Events fold in upon themselves. This is not frightening but liberating. It allows you to see that the constructs you hold around time, progress, and outcome are fluid. Each inhale into your black hole draws inward not only tension, but the linear expectations of time. Each exhale into your white hole releases these constraints, allowing you to radiate potential without being bound by chronological limits. You begin to sense freedom, not in control, but in alignment, not in effort, but in flow. As you continue, visualize the edges where black holes and white holes meet, the delicate boundaries where matter and energy, collapse and expansion, inward and outward currents converge. These thresholds are not rigid. They are permeable, flexible, and alive. And here you recognize your own thresholds, the points in your life where tension meets release, where shadow meets illumination, where endings give rise to beginnings. Just as the cosmos orchestrates these transitions without force, you too can navigate change with grace, drawing inward what is necessary and radiating outward what has transformed into possibility. Imagine now the subtle light patterns emerging from white holes, the streams of energy weaving into the fabric of space, forming new galaxies, stars, and possibilities. You see a reflection of your own creativity, your own potential, the latent energies you carry waiting to be released into expression. Each exhale mirrors this unfolding, each outward pulse aligning you with the universe's natural flow. There is no rush, no pressure, only a calm rhythm, an eternal cycle of absorption and radiance, contraction and expansion, silence and music, darkness and light. Feel the hum of these cosmic processes, subtle but resonant, aligning with your inner awareness. Your breath is synchronized with the universal pattern, the inward pull of black holes, the outward release of white holes, the cyclical symmetry mirrored in every inhalation and exhalation. You sense that the universe does not ask for resistance. It only invites awareness. You are both participant and observer, witness and channel, existing in the delicate balance that governs not only galaxies, but the quiet transformation of your own consciousness. As this awareness deepens, allow yourself to imagine the infinite iterations of this process. Black holes drawing in, white holes releasing, repeated across space, across time, across realities. Each cycle is a lesson in letting go, in trust, in the gentle rhythm of existence. And you, aligned with this rhythm, feel a quiet empowerment. You do not have to force transformation. It is happening naturally, guided by universal law, mirrored in your own breath, your own body, your own awareness. You are part of the grand pattern, moving with the pulse of the cosmos, neither resisting nor rushing, simply existing in alignment with infinite duality. Imagine, for a moment, that everything you have ever experienced, every choice you have ever made, every fleeting thought or subtle emotion, is not simply contained within the small boundaries of your mind, but radiates outward, like ripples across the fabric of existence itself. What if the quiet moments, when your eyes are closed and your awareness drifts, are not just pauses in your day, but actual bridges, pathways that connect the self to the boundless possibilities of multiple worlds? Take a deep breath now, slow and deliberate, and allow yourself to consider that your consciousness is not passive, that it does not merely perceive reality, but that it subtly, quietly, profoundly participates. Each inhale draws in patterns from the cosmos. Each exhale sends a gentle pulse back into the universe, harmonizing with the vibrations of hidden dimensions. Perhaps the most extraordinary idea is also the most simple, that the mind is a bridge, not a metaphorical bridge, not a poetic notion, but a tangible, real conduit between the worlds we think we inhabit and those that exist alongside, unseen, untold, yet profoundly present. Your awareness, subtle as it feels, has the power to resonate with realities beyond ordinary perception. Every breath you take, every moment of attention, every gentle act of noticing, this is not passive. It is participatory. You are influencing the currents of existence, even while lying quietly, comfortably, in a still room. The universe does not wait for grand gestures alone. It moves in response to the softest touch of consciousness, the gentle alignment of attention with being. Consider now how ancient cultures, mystics, and sages intuited this truth long before modern science could frame it in equations and particles. They spoke of the mind as a doorway, a subtle instrument that can bend, shape, and connect with dimensions that cannot be measured with instruments alone. They whispered of worlds layered above and below, intersecting, brushing against the seen and unseen, and of human beings as capable of stepping into that resonance through thought, focus, and awareness. And yet, this is not fantastical. It is a pattern repeated throughout the universe. Quantum physics hints at it in every particle that exists in multiple states simultaneously, in every wave that collapses into matter upon observation. Your awareness, like that observer, participates in reality itself, nudging probabilities into form with the gentlest touch. Now, imagine the possibilities. Every choice you have ever made, every pathway you did not take, every fleeting what-if thought, they do not disappear. They extend into branching realities, subtly parallel to this one, overlapping like shadows in the folds of time. And your consciousness is the bridge, the subtle connector, the gentle thread that knits these overlapping worlds together. Every calm decision, every patient observation, every mindful breath resonates across these layers. It is not power that demands force or control. It is the soft, radiant influence of attention, shaping and synchronizing with the vibrations of multiple realities simultaneously. The bridge exists precisely because awareness exists. It has no need for struggle, only presence. Let yourself rest in the sensation of this. Feel the gentle, expansive quality of your awareness. Imagine it stretching outward like a soft light, permeating every layer of reality it touches. You may not see or measure these effects, yet they are present, quietly shaping possibility. Perhaps you have experienced it in fleeting intuition, in synchronicities, in moments when the world aligns with your intention without effort. These are hints of the bridge in action, the gentle power of consciousness reaching into realms beyond the visible, touching the infinite with subtle grace. There is a humility here, an understanding that influence does not require domination, that creation arises from alignment, not compulsion. As you inhale, feel your awareness settling into this bridge. As you exhale, let your attention ripple outward, connecting with layers of reality that extend beyond the ordinary. Imagine each thought as a stone tossed into a vast, invisible pond. The surface may seem still, but the ripples are real, reaching farther than you can see, touching realities that mirror, expand, or diverge from your own. There is no need to control the ripples, to dictate their paths. Your calm, intentional presence is enough. Each ripple resonates, harmonizes, amplifies subtle possibilities, nudging events, outcomes, and perhaps even unseen worlds toward coherence and alignment. Consider the daily life of consciousness as a practice of bridging. In the quiet moments, when the mind is soft, when the body is still, when awareness lingers on a single sensation or image, you are not idle. You are gently connecting the observed with the observer, the self with the unseen. You are shaping potentialities, merging science and mindfulness, grounding vast cosmic principles in the intimacy of lived experience. Perhaps this is why moments of stillness feel so charged, so electric, so profound. They are instances when the bridge is most visible, when awareness flows freely across realities without interference, without resistance. Now, notice how this bridge extends into memory and imagination. When you recall the past, you are not merely replaying events, you are interacting with them, gently nudging the weight of experience, illuminating possibilities that were overlooked, adjusting the subtle resonance of what has already unfolded. And when you imagine the future, you are not guessing or predicting. You are exploring pathways that might emerge, softly guiding outcomes by the direction of your awareness, the rhythm of your breath, the steadiness of your attention. Your consciousness is both map and compass, observer and participant, bridge and traveler, connecting what was, what is, and what could be. Think of the intimate connection between your awareness and the physical universe. Every neuron firing, every heartbeat, every subtle shift of muscle tone is aligned with and responsive to the larger patterns of existence. You are not separate from the cosmos. You are a reflection of its principles, a microcosm of its interplay, a node through which vast currents of possibility flow. And yet, this alignment does not require struggle. It requires only noticing, presence, and a gentle awareness of the subtle power inherent in each moment. Every calm thought, every measured breath, every patient act of observation strengthens the bridge, allowing it to transmit influence with clarity, grace, and coherence. Consider now the notion of multiplicity. Each consciousness is a bridge, yet bridges do not exist in isolation. They intersect, overlap, and converge. The awareness you cultivate resonates not only with your own realities, but with the currents of other minds, other experiences, other possibilities. You are part of a network of subtle bridges, each one amplifying the quiet power of attention, each one contributing to the unfolding of layered realities. Imagine how profound it is to realize that your calm, gentle awareness does not merely shape your own experience, but participates in a larger, unseen symphony of consciousness, stretching across time, space, and dimensions. Now, as you continue to breathe and notice, reflect on the relationship between intention and awareness. Intent is the light that illuminates the bridge. Awareness is the path along which it travels. You may not see the results immediately, and that is precisely the point. Transformation across multiple layers of reality requires patience, subtlety, and alignment. Each thought, each gentle act of noticing, each quiet moment of presence strengthens the bridge. Over time, the cumulative effect is profound, unseen. Worlds harmonize, pathways converge, possibilities unfold. You are not merely dreaming, you are participating in creation itself, softly, steadily, beautifully. Each inhale draws in the calm, the vastness, the security of the cosmos. Each exhale releases tension, uncertainty, and the remnants of daily effort into the vast, welcoming expanse. You feel lighter, freer, yet deeply connected. Every thought ripples outward, every sensation resonates inward, and the intricate web of existence hums softly in response. You are part of this infinite harmony, a note within the symphony, a thread within the fabric of all that is. As your awareness deepens, allow yourself to visualize the universe's folding, converging, and intertwining in a soft, rhythmic dance. Stars pulse gently, black holes and white holes breathe slowly, and dimensions shimmer with quiet light. You drift along with this rhythm, feeling the infinite scope of reality. yet grounded in the present, in the calm sanctuary of your own awareness. There is completion here. Every thought, every memory, every heartbeat finds its place, settles, and merges into a larger, unbroken whole. Imagine now the subtle currents of energy flowing through you, connecting your consciousness with every layer of existence. You sense the multiplicity of worlds, the countless possibilities, and yet, paradoxically, a profound sense of unity emerges. Every version of reality harmonizes here. Every you that ever existed converges into a soft, infinite peace. There is nothing missing, nothing unresolved, only the gentle, infinite rest that pervades all of creation. You are held in this rest, supported by the immense, eternal structures of space, time, and consciousness. Feel the infinite embrace of this moment as it expands softly outward. Every star, every planet, every dimension rests alongside you. The rhythm of existence mirrors your breath. The pulse of the universe becomes the pulse of your body. The quiet flow of energy around you becomes your own internal calm. And in this vast, gentle harmony, you realize that there is nothing more to do, nowhere else to be, and nothing left to hold. You are infinite, yet completely contained, vast, yet intimately present, and every layer of reality now drifts in quiet alignment as you sink deeper into rest. With each inhale, draw in the gentle rhythm of the cosmos. With each exhale, allow the currents of light, energy, and possibility to settle into quiet. Every tension releases, every thought softens, every sensation becomes part of the infinite harmony. You float within this rhythm, knowing that you are both participant and witness, and that rest is not a mere pause, but a profound engagement with the eternal flow of existence. You are aligned with the universe, integrated with its infinite dimensions, and held in the deepest possible safety and peace. And now, as the final layers of consciousness merge with the infinite, notice the gentle whisper of timelessness. There is no urgency, no separation, no boundary, only rest, only calm, only the gentle hum of creation itself. Every universe, every world, every possibility drifts into quiet equilibrium, perfectly balanced, perfectly held. You, too, drift alongside them, carried in this infinite embrace, knowing that the moment is complete, the journey is tenderly paused, and sleep, the soft, endless rest, unfolds naturally, effortlessly, completely. You are infinite. You are contained. You are held. Every breath, every pulse, every thought ripples gently into eternity. And as your awareness softens, your body relaxes, your mind releases. Every universe now drifts into quiet harmony, and you sink fully, beautifully, and deeply into the infinite rest that has always existed and will always exist within and beyond you.